Okay, so you know I review cheap knives. I review many inspired in the design of Chinese folders. Now, when I say inspired in the design of Chinese, I don't mean somebody's inspired by Chinese knives. I mean Chinese knives are usually inspired by other knives from other countries. And if you don't have a lot of subscribers, you don't exactly have the better brands throwing knives at you. So, yeah, to keep your SEO up and to review a lot of knives, you have to either take the cheap ones or you have to spend, a few $1,000s getting the good ones if you don't have a hookup. I reviewed the Spyderco Para Military 2, and a few months ago I reviewed its karaoke version, the Ganzo G732. So what's the difference? Well, I paid $140 for the Para Military 2 and $13 for its clone, which is a big difference. And you're like, that sounds stupid. Well, if you're like me and you want to know what's the difference, but you don't want to buy them, well, check out this video. Well, now since I've had the Para Military 2 in my hands for a few days now, I'm in love, but it's not because of confirmation bias. Or, maybe I'm just a Spyderco viral marketer. Well, no, probably because I cuss too much. First off, the Para Military 2 is slightly smaller than the Ganzo, and the Para Military 2 weighs less. Not quite half an ounce, but, close. I won't do the boring dimension stuff side by side, but I'll put the numbers up so you can watch those individual reviews to see how I measure. Now, if I'd make an observation, the Ganzo might be even more of a clone of the military version because of the slightly longer blade and liner lock, but it's still not a perfect copy, which would be terrible if it was. Blade steel, bro. Ganzo uses some form of 440C, which is easy to sharpen, but dulls after a bit of moderate use. The Spyderco uses S30V or S110V, depending on what model you have. Now, I'm sure there's other limited editions, but that's what's available right now. Spyderco steel holds an edge longer than the Chinese blade. Now, of course, if you have a good sharpening system, you might not give an F. The Ganzo's blade is a little longer, has a smaller spider hole, and has some really rounded, useless jimping on the spine. So it's not good for traction at all, and it's mostly slippery and rounded. The Para Military 2 has finer jimping that gives you a good amount of friction when you press on it. But the PM2 should keep your thumb in place during hard use while making a knife video. Now the handle. The G10 on the Blurple model and the Camo Spyderco has more texture. The Ganzo's feels a little more like plastic, but I don't think it's plastic. It has shallower texture, and it's a lighter in color G10. Then there's the liners. So on the Ganzo, the G10 scales just sit on top of full stainless steel liners. On the Spyderco, you have better integration between the liners and the scales that allow for a thinner, lighter handle. The liner is skeletonized on the Spyderco, and the G10 scales have some milling, so the liner actually sits up in the scales. Now, the handle on itself on the Para Military 2 is more ergonomic. It matches the fit of your fingers better. The Ganzo screws it up by having weird lumps in place of a more natural hand groove. You can get a tighter hold on the Para Military 2 than the Ganzo because you can close your hand more firmly. Then the lanyard hold on the PM2 has a metal sleeve, so whatever cord you have running through there doesn't get caught and cut inside the liner whenever the knife is closed. But both have positionable clips for 4 corners, so the clips are both nice and rounded, so that's kind of the same on both of them. Deployment and lock are better on the Para Military 2, much better. I did have to do a minor pivot loosening on the Para Military 2 to get it where it is now, but that was like a micron of a turn. Now both have middle finger deployments, but I prefer it on the Para Military 2 because it seems a touch smoother than the Ganzo. The lock disengagement is also much better on the PM2 because it's in a more logical place, and safer because your finger doesn't disengage the lock in a closing blade's path, like it does here on the Ganzo. There's nothing wrong with liner locks, it's just that the compression lock on a Spyderco seems more logical because you move your fingers out of the way when you close the lock. Now lastly, the D10. The Ganzo you can flick out, but not quite all the way when closed. Now this doesn't mean it's going to open in your pocket. I have not really had a knife do that to me before, but the PM2 doesn't do that. It has a smooth bump when you close it, so even though it deploys and closes lightning quicker than the Ganzo, the blade retention when closed is awesome still. Now I can see that some of you may not find any of this a big deal, but there are quite a few major differences between these two knives. Just because they look the same doesn't mean they perform the same. Now, I think the Spyderco price is more than justified. The Blurple model costs about $25 more, but the Camo you can find for $120, $130, sometimes under $100 slightly used. Now, all of these things may not have convinced you, but after holding both in my hand, they feel like completely different knives. The Paramilitary 2 is a much more refined blade and pretty much a perfect knife. The Ganzo is cheap, but other than the basic cosmetics, it doesn't feel anything like a real Paramilitary 2. If you like this sort of comparison, subscribe to my channel, give the video a thumbs up, leave a comment, and follow me on Instagram. There you'll find shots of my upcoming reviews, or sometimes camping, hiking photos, and plenty of pictures of lights and knives. Hey, thanks for watching.